Hello and welcome to Newsroom Northeast. I'm Olumide Macaulay. Coming up today, Cross River State government impounds drugs used for illegal logging as it continues appeal against deforestation. Edo State governor holds emergency meeting with heads of security agencies, orders re-accreditation of vigilante officials. And women groups in River State advocate for gender policy validation to help decision-making process in government. That's a Newsroom South. The Cross River State Governor, Basi Otto, has condemned every act of deforestation across the state by illegal wood loggers, with a strict warning for them to desist or face the full wrath of the law, as their nefarious activities have led to the depletion of Cross River forest reserves. Speaking in Calabar, the Cross River State capital, the governor explained that forest bearing have been massively dislocated and their landmass completely eroded, thus creating huge environmental challenges with a cumulative long-term consequence.
The Cross River National Park is said to be one of Africa's last remaining rainforests. Rich in a wide variety of flora and fauna species, it's the closest to the mangrove swamps on the coastal region among 25 biodiversity hotspots in the world. As important as this forest is, its integrity is being threatened by human activities such as logging being carried out across different communities. A drive around some communities of Boki local government area of the state reveals piles of logged wood ready for evacuation at different points.
The community and the chiefs have told them to stop, to cut the wood. So, and we don't want anybody to enter the road again. And right now they cannot even enter the road because of the bridge. But what they used to do, as you can see, they will bring one of the tipper and stand on the other side, then the other one will be inside, then carrying the wood to the bridge. Then as you can see, boys are carrying it out then before they load.
Cross River State Governor Basi Otto is very much aware of this danger to the ecosystem. He says the government has taken steps to preserve what's remaining of the forest reserves.
Sustainable exploitation of abundant natural resources and nature of the ecosystem shall be the preoccupation of the state government through its relevant agencies. Unrestricted forest exploitation and other forms of land degradation shall no longer be tolerated.
Days later, a team led by the State Chief of Staff, Emmanuel Ironda, holds a briefing on the progress of both security officials and members of the community to stop illegal logging. He said over 30 trucks loaded with timber were impounded.
The community here, Jiranga, mobilized themselves out and were able to accostate this number of vehicles. You can see here, we have 32 trucks that were caught and impounded by the community and also with the help of the security, police and the military. So we are here to let the public know that it is good for us to partner with the government, mostly on information regarding issues like this.
Efforts to preserve as much of the ecosystem as possible by various governments in Cross River State has earned Calabar, its capital, the title Green City. The present administration says these efforts will continue to keep one of the largest rainforests in the world intact.
The former chairman, National Electricity Regulatory Commission, Dr. Sam Amadi, has identified the need to design appropriate legal and regulatory framework to enhance access to electricity in the country. He was speaking at the inaugural meeting of the Nigerian Environmental Lawyers Collective, a non-profit organization specializing in environmental and human rights law in pursuit of social and environmental justice. This meeting was convened to engage government and NGOs and other stakeholders in the power sector to brainstorm on ways to ensure safe and affordable power supply in the country.
It's a gathering of environmental lawyers in pursuit of social justice and infrastructural development, stakeholders in the power sector, and other not-for-profit organizations. They have convened to review state legislative laws on power sector development. Citing the example of Germany as a leader in the power sector, the country manager for Natural Justice Nigeria, who addresses journalists outside the event, emphasizes the need to work towards similar target because Africa has 70% of the world's natural resource component.
60 to 70% of the sun that shines in Africa does not shine in Europe and America. But Germany has close to 25,000 megawatts of electricity on rooftop solar. Rooftop solar. It does not have the same irradiation like we have, but they have even more. I think maybe we'll be talking about between 40 and 50,000 megawatts of electricity. That is like 10 times the 4,000 megawatts we have in Nigeria operating right now. I think that is our driving force. How do we leapfrog what Germany is doing right now?
For his part, the Commissioner for Power, Akwa Ibom State, speaks on the importance of the work of the environmental lawyers in identifying the loopholes in state power legislations, especially as they affect investment.
What natural justice has done is trying to put early on, designing in the legal issues around the required state legislations in the power space. This way, all parties, if not for anything, there's been a sensitization. If not for anything, there's also networking for people to know in terms of knowledge, in terms of capacity, what do you do? What we intend to do is greatly improved outcomes and all that. Nothing is perfect. So yes, we have an EA, but already we have an electricity act. But already we can see an inconsistency and an encumbrance to the much required investment in the power space.
In a chat with journalists later on his presentation, which centered on the need for a legal framework for affordable power supply, former chairman of the NERC speaks on the need to chart a roadmap that will enable states optimize their natural resources.
We now need to sit together and chart a roadmap and help create a commercial framework, regulatory design institutions, policy structure that will enable the states first to optimize their own resources. Renewable energy. Government is talking about renewable energy, they're talking about transition to net zero. These build around local capacity. So we need to help the states design institutions that will optimize their resources.
Some participants speak on their gains from the meeting.
Well, the message I am taking away from here is that it is not just enough to develop policies. During Professor Lucky Warika's presentation, we saw a lot of Nigerian policies, the energy transition plan, a lot of climate change policies, but yet we have a problem with implementation, and that is very important.
While the lawyers for natural justice look to other aspects of the environment for equitable wealth distribution, their expectation from this engagement is that state assemblies will rethink and rework their legislations on power in order to encourage investment while also empowering local communities to manage and control their resources.
The Edo State government says it will be taking strong measures to improve security. In one of such steps, Governor Godwin Obaseki has ordered all vigilante personnel should report for reaccreditation immediately. Governor Obaseki, who gave the order following an emergency security meeting with service chiefs, reiterated that no unlawful activities will be tolerated even as the state prepares to go to the polls this year.
A mobile emergency response center on standby at the popular King Square axis of Benin City, the Edo State capital. While the personnel are visible to everyone, the public is oblivious to the security cameras mounted in this area and other strategic locations. The Edo State government monitors the movements in and around the city at Solomon Arase Command and Control Center.
You should see me.
Here, operators process calls from the public for the appropriate authorities to respond. The Edo State Governor, Godwin Obaseki, and the heads of security agencies in the state are regular callers at the response center to assess the crime situation in the state. Mr. Obaseki gives an update after a closed-door session with the security agencies.
In the guise of sky burial, some citizens resorted to arson and assault on our security agencies in Oja village. Government cannot fold its arm to allow a breakdown of law and order.
Mr. Obaseki insists that the state's vigilante network is rebranded. All personnel should be reaccredited.
All vigilante groups and persons that have been trained so far, about 6,500 of them, are required to report to the Police Staff College where they receive trainings for re-accreditation.
As a follow-up to the new security strategies to be deployed, the Army and the police join in the conversation.
We are bringing in about 4,000 policemen who are brand new, because some people reported that probably too much familiarity, we need new hands. And I want to assure Edo people, as elections are coming, people should go about their lawful businesses.
When it comes to insecurity, the police is the lead agency, but we are there to support whenever the need arises. So we are very much available, and that is the mandate that has been given to me by the Chief of Army Staff to continue to collaborate and to continue to support the Nigeria Police in particular. The
Edo State Security Council also announced that the emergency toll-free numbers are fully operational. The public should call 112 and 739 in the case of any emergency.
The All Progressives Congress in Edo State has given more insight into the outcome of the advisory committee's intervention, which had met with aspirants to explore ways of reducing the number from 29 to 6. State chairman of the party, Jared Tenebe, at an event in Benin City, Edo State capital, listed the guidelines to include the aspirants winning the awards, amongst others. The senator representing Edo Central Senatorial District in the Senate, Monday Oborevwori, who is also an aspirant, appeals for aspirants to respect leaders.
Gender screening is not an exam, it's not an academic work, but for moral justification. They were screened out because they didn't meet some basics. Those basics are very clear. Clear terms. We your ward, we your unit, we your local government. 50%. If you don't have it, you are failed. I also want to appeal to my brothers that leaders should be respected. The leaders tell you don't buy form, and you went and bought form. Will you respect leaders when you become a governor?
6 aspirants across the senatorial district, 2 per senatorial district. And one of the guidelines which carried the highest mark was winning your units, your ward in all the elections. We carry 50%. So they came up with 6 aspirants. And a meeting was called, another leadership meeting was called to read the report of the screening committee that pulled down to 6. Some issues were raised. Some aspirants who were not among the 6 raised issues that some of the aspirants lied that they won their units. Meanwhile, they did not win their units. Then the leadership took note of that.
Welcome to Newsroom series. Our focus is the South-South region. We'll be pitching our tent in Edo State for the moment to discuss the fight against insecurity with the Commissioner for Public Security and Safety, Mr. Kingsley Oborevwori. He joins us from Benin City, the state capital. Good day and thank you for being with us.
Yes, thank you for having me. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. Now, it seems the administration of Governor Godwin Obaseki is leaving nothing to chance with the issue of insecurity, to the extent that that was the outcome of the emergency security meeting between him and heads of security agencies. That aside from the accreditation of vigilante personnel, what can you tell us about the state of things in Edo State? We do beg your pardon. We can't hear you. If you can hear me, I was asking you about the current decisions that Governor Godwin Obaseki is taking to arrest any sort of insecurity in Edo State.
Okay, thank you for having me. Sorry I lost you initially, but I think I got some part of the questions. The governor is the governor of the state, the chief executive of the state, and it's not leaving anything to chance. And so when we realized that we got credible intelligence that things were going a bit off the bend, he had to summon all security chiefs to ensure that we're on top of our game, to ensure that we are proactive. And so that was what that's all about. Yes, election is coming, but people need to be safe. People need to go about their duties. So that was what that meeting was all about.
Last year, the state government launched the Emergency Communications Center for Improved Security Architecture. What's the progress report on that? Especially it's being used by residents.
Well, we have to first commend His Excellency for that Command and Control Center. The whole idea is to ensure that wherever you are in Edo State, you can call 112, you can call 739. And the whole idea is to ensure that people can we have people working 24 hours, 24/7. You know, every time, once you have an emergency, whether it's fire, it's crime, it's medical, you call that number, people will respond to you. Not just respond to you, but the action parties are also well laid out. Because it is one thing to have just the call, and it's hard to have response. So in Edo State, you do get response. We are measuring our time of response. We're improving on that. And I think the people are happy. They are beginning to believe in it. They are beginning to call. Our calls.
We do apologize for the glitch. If you can hear me, you can continue as soon as you get back with us. That very much mimics the 911 emergency number in the United States or the 411 number in the US for that matter. How much has this contributed to the breakthrough in investigating criminal matters?
A whole lot, actually, because now we also, part of that facility ensures you have data. So I can tell you where also crime is happening in every part of the state. I know where we have high crime, where we have low crime, the type of crime, nature of crime, and that influences how we rejig our apparatus to suit those crime in those areas. And the important thing is that apart from the numbers where you can call, you can send chats, you can send short chats, you can send videos, and
we do apologize once again for the glitch in hearing what you're saying, but the last thing you did say was that aside from vocal communication, text communication is also available for the residents to get in touch with the communication center.
Yeah, I'm not sure I have it clearly, but I'm saying apart from calls, 112, 729, you can also send chats, you can send messages, and we answer this message real time online. It's 24 hours non-stop. And I also said that we also have cameras. The state also has drones, areas where we're not sure of the terrorists. We send our drones there, these decoy drones, to give us data before we launch into action and launch into response.
Thank you so much for being with us. We wish you the best in Edo State as you continue to keep the state safe for the citizens and also in view of the coming elections. Thank you very much for coming on Newsroom series today.
Thank you for having me. Have a good one.
Many thanks. That was the Commissioner for Public Safety and Security in Edo State, Mr. Kingsley Oborevwori. He joined us from Benin City. Now, over in Delta State, also in the South, obviously, the governor has suspended his Commissioner for Agriculture and Natural Resources, the ministry's permanent secretary and others officials following reports of infractions related to the management of the ministry's greenhouse project. Their suspension was announced after review of the implementation of the scheme and the constitution of an investigative team to be chaired by the Secretary to the State Government, Dr. Kingsley Emu. This, according to the State Government, will allow the committee unimpeded access to information during the period of the investigation. Meanwhile, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Mr. Bennett Agama, Assistant Director, Agricultural Engineering, Oki Yentareke, and the Chief Accountant, Mr. Gabriel Idiatacheko, are to proceed on compulsory leave until further notice in line with the Civil Service Extant Rules. The government says this action is in no way a presumption of guilt, but a necessary measure to uphold the sanctity of the investigative process. The River State Commissioner for Women Affairs has charged women in the state to acquire relevant skills and education in order to improve their chances in the workplace. The commissioner made the call in Port Harcourt during a brainstorming session at the Gender Policy Validation Workshop, which was attended by different stakeholders in the gender advocacy space. Various women groups discussed integration of the gender equality perspective across all government action to help streamline the decision-making process in relation to policy and spending plans.
Gathered in this hall at the River State Ministry of Women Affairs, Port Harcourt, are women and other stakeholders from various women advocacy groups in the state. They are here as part of the River State Gender Policy Validation Workshop being put together by the Stakeholders Democracy Network, and in attendance are the Commissioners for Women Affairs and that of Social Welfare and Rehabilitation. The various speakers canvass for women rights. The Commissioner for Women Affairs, however, calls on women across to skill up for more competitiveness in the labor market.
The women are there. We're always there, and the government is not putting their eyes out of women. They're always there to help. What I will advise our women is that they should keep pushing forward, learn more skills, and continue to grow, because government is there to help them, to sponsor them in all aspects.
The event organizers also roll out their intentions for putting together the workshop.
For us, we need a workable policy that can be implemented, and then that would also be pushed or amplified to local communities. And for us, today serves as a very, very important day that would ensure that this document that we've been able to pull together, with resource persons is validated, and then would have like a final document that would then present to the Ministry of Women Affairs, who would then take it further and discuss with the Executive Governor of Rivers State and, of course, the Executive Council, so that they can adopt it as a working document.
Among the attendees is the Rivers State Labour Party chairperson, Hilda Dokubo, who makes a case for a higher inclusion rate for women in governance.
For the women, we've been before now demanding 35%, but let's also consider that everywhere you put women, you put children and young people. So we deserve much more than 35%. So it should be at 35%, and the 35% that belongs to young people and children, because you must, whether you like it or not, mainstream them into the development plan of any place where you live.
We have felt the need to push for a gender policy that will be addressing the issues of women's participation in the political space. So this project is important to us as women in the state, and then we also want to see Rivers State do better.
The resolutions made at this workshop are to be passed on to the state government for mainstreaming into the government's official gender policy. Charles Oborevwori, Channels Television News.
And that's it on Newsroom series today. Thank you for watching. I'm Olumide Mukola.